Wondra sits in a jail cell. He is back in Idaho, accused of killing young Michael Vaughn.
You're pure evil. You have no heart. You have no soul.
Wondra is accused of murdering her then 5-year-old son in 2021. Would you think you'll ever get the answer as to why?
No, because there is no answer to why. Why would somebody hurt an innocent little boy? What answer could you give? What answer could you possibly give? How scared was he? Did he ask for me? Did he ask for Tyler?
Stacy Wondra has been charged with first-degree murder and second-degree kidnapping and destruction of evidence.
Michael Monkey Vaughn went missing from his Fruitland neighborhood on July 27, 2021.
This is a criminal investigation.
Now, more than 4 years later, in newly unsealed court documents, Fruitland police named 4 people they believed are involved in Michael's murder. Those 4 names are ones we've heard before.
This is Sarah Wondra. This is Sarah's husband, Stacy Wandra. This is Brandon Shirtliff, Adrian Lucian.
As for what these 4 people have in common, they were all staying at the Wandras' home when Michael disappeared in 2021. That's just half a mile from Michael's home where he was last seen. In the PCA, police pointed to video evidence they say showing Shirtliff walking around the neighborhood. They say Shirtliff helped move Michael's body in a duffel bag temporarily to his mom's home in Kuna before standing guard as they buried him in the Wandras' Fruitland backyard. Stacy Wondra told police the 4 hoped to sell Michael for $10,000 each. He says the idea came from Adrian Lucian. Idaho News 6 is now learning Lucian was arrested and released in Indiana in October for a traffic-related misdemeanor. Sarah Wondra is currently serving time in the Idaho State Prison System for unrelated charges. She's eligible for parole in early 2026.
Karen, is there any connection between the Vaughn family and the home where police had been searching?
No, we've heard this more than once from the family representatives and from the police department that there is no connection between the Vaughn family and the home where this search took place.
As you know, from the time Michael went missing, this has been an all-hands-on-deck investigation, and it remains very active and an ongoing investigation. You can't take one of our most precious citizens from us and ever expect us to stop. During the course of this investigation to date, we received credible information that the remains of Michael Vaughn could be found in the backyard at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland. As a result, the Fruitland Police Department obtained a search warrant for the residence along with the front and backyards. That search warrant was served on November 11th. It was a Friday. We served that late in the evening. Upon entry, officers encountered Sarah Wondra, one of the known occupants of the home, and Sarah was subsequently arrested based on probable cause that she had knowledge of Michael's death and failed to report that death to law enforcement. The following day, the Fruitland Police Department, joined by the Idaho State Police, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, the Fruitland Fire Department, and the Fruitland Public Works Department, began a very methodical excavation of the backyard of the Wandras' home. During that excavation process, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, Mountain States detection dogs deployed multiple certified human remains detection dogs on the property, all of them alerting to the presence of human remains. Ground penetrating radar was also used and deployed, detecting anomalies in the backyard. We completed the excavation of the entire backyard and removed over 250 yards of dirt. Prior to backfilling the yard, the dirt was meticulously sifted for any potential human remains. We did not find Michael's remains. Although the remains of Michael Vaughn were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, that Michael was abducted and is deceased, and that his remains were buried and later moved from the property. As of today, the whereabouts of his remains are unknown. However, the investigation is active, fluid, and ongoing. Once the excavation was complete, we conducted a thorough search of the Wandras' residence. The search was productive, and additional investigative evidence was recovered and is currently being processed.
An hour's worth of body camera footage showing Stacy Wandra FaceTiming with detectives and directing to where Monkey's body was buried in his backyard.
It's like right under that mound area. It's right under the mound. About where at compared to the trees?
A little like right to the right of the trees there, yeah. It should be, it should be a garbage bag.
Okay, what color is the garbage bag?
It would either be white or black. We only had two colors.
Is the duct tape still going to be over his mouth?
It should be.
Okay.
I didn't watch to take them off.
Okay.
So you should have everything intact as it was.
He claims he watched the burial happen.
Okay. How far down is Michael?
I don't know how far she actually dug.
And the she he's referring to, that's his wife Sarah, another suspect in the case. Stacy says Adrian, a third suspect, was also there for the burial.
Out of 300 homes, police say canines tracked Michael's scent to the home where Stacy, his wife Sarah, and their two roommates Brandon Shirtliff and Adrian Lucien lived.
As Joe mentioned, a newly released probable cause affidavit filed in June lays out the interviews following Michael's disappearance. Again, during these initial searches, police say canines tracked Michael's scent to the fence line of the home where Stacy Wondra, his wife Sarah, and their two roommates, Brandon Shirtliff and Adrian Lucien, lived. All four of those individuals have been named people of interest in Michael's disappearance. One of Michael's neighbors told police they saw Michael riding a bike outside of the Wondra's home the day that he disappeared. Another neighbor said they saw that same tricycle at the Wondra's home during a garage sale months before Michael disappeared. The Wondras initially denied any involvement, but then in November of 2022, Stacy asked to meet with investigators. The PCA states Stacy claims he was home the night Michael was allegedly abducted and saw Sarah carrying Michael into the house. Stacy allegedly told police it was Adrian's idea to take a child to sell for money, and they would get a $10,000 cut. Stacy claims Sarah told everyone to, quote, follow her lead. Stacy told investigators they took him to Brandon's mother's home in Kuna that night, where they left Michael overnight. Stacy claims the other three returned to Brandon's mom's house the next day and brought Michael back to the Wanderers' home in Fruitland. Stacy told police Michael was not alive, and Sarah and Adrian buried him in the Wanderers' backyard. 2 days after Stacy's interview with police, they executed a search warrant and excavated the Wanderers' backyard. The affidavit says cadaver dogs alerted to the same area where Stacy told detectives Michael's body was buried, but to this day, Michael has not been found.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you guys for coming in to Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. My name is Samantha. As a lot of you know, thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate it. So many people here. Thank you guys. We are chasing justice for Michael Vaughn. We are going to be going over some court filings, some subpoenas, and give a few updates tonight. But let's see who is in chat. We got Hair Curlers in Crime, the best name on the YouTube streets. Good to have you here, hun. Kimberly in the house, and Shannon is here. Thank you both for coming. We got Clever Phase and the Gemini. Thank you all for coming in. Purple, thank you for coming in, hun. Pretty Assessor and Gemini. Let's see. We got Lynn Brothers. Thank you so much for being here. We got Coco Chanel. Thank you for coming in. I'm really excited to be here tonight just to go over a lot of information that I have found looking into stuff. Under Your Scars, thank you so much for being here. Rogue, good to see you, hun. Suzanne, thank you for being here. Red Bull Girl, thank you. Opal is in the house. Opal says, some days we just have to push ourselves through, pulling strength from where we can and being brave enough to do it. You're always sending such beautiful messages. Thank you for being here and being so kind. I have the best chat, I swear. Josie in the house. We've got Maud here, Blessed Mama. Nice to see everybody. Cotton Candy, Corinne, Six Sense Media. Really glad to have you all here. We have a lot to go over tonight. A lot. And we've got Mama in the house. Hey, Brandy. Good to see you here, hun. Jen is also here. Thank you for being here. I might as well just start with the fact that, yeah, only 2 weeks away from Stacy Wandra's preliminary hearing, where the attorneys will go over all of their evidence, and the judge will determine whether or not there's enough evidence to move forward with the charges on Stacy Wondra for first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction of evidence. And if they do find that there is enough evidence, then we'll be looking at a trial. The state's going to have 2 days to prove Stacy's involvement and show their evidence. And then Stacy's attorney will have to prove that the state's evidence isn't strong enough, or prove that evidence is not factual, and, you know, the drill. A lot of things coming around over the next couple of weeks. I want to go over things. I want to revisit things. That's one of the reasons why we are Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. I do like to revisit things. I want to go over the probable cause affidavit again, and a criminal complaint. Might as well go over Stacy's confession, and these are going to be later lives. But tonight, we're going to go over recent filings. I just want to say, you know, court is going to be March 2nd through the 6th. Brandy and her family need lots of support at this time. If you live in the area, whether you can make it into the hearing or not make it into the hearing, you know, maybe be there, be outside, support the family, go inside. If you can go inside, we're actually going to talk about whether or not it's going to be public. Not sure if the preliminary hearing is going to be recorded. And if it is, you can guarantee I will be here to stream it, and we can all watch it together. But either way, the family needs support. I have talked to Brandy a couple of times over the last month. Brandy and Tyler and Blue will all be there in court. The family is very stressed, as you can imagine. Stacy, I believe, has to be in court. So they're going to be facing the monster that murdered Michael. And that's got to be extremely difficult. I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, how can you sit in a courtroom and look at the man that's been accused of murdering and kidnapping your son, your brother, your family? You know, it's been a long road for them to get here, but there's still so much more, because I say when Stacy loses in court during the preliminary hearing, and they do move forward, because I want to put the positivity out into the world that he will. And they move forward. When they do move forward, there's going to be so much more, because then you have trial. But even during the preliminary hearing, they've got to listen to the discovery, which I'm sure the prosecutors have gone over with the family, what to expect. You know, will they be given any new information that they haven't seen? Are they going to be learning anything new? Brandy says here, I'm telling you all now, I have no idea how my body is going to react. So if I act out of character, please understand. And we do. Brandy's liver's been doing really good. She is fighting some other health issues, but in that case, they're just trying to figure out what's going on, why her body keeps wanting to retain a bunch of water, but we're not losing her. She's here. She fought the fight with her kidney. She's going to continue to fight. Strongest woman I know. Yeah, what's Blue? 18, 19 years old. She's going to be sitting there in the courtroom with her mom and dad. And yeah, this is not going to be easy for everyone in the family. Just not going to be easy. I'm pretty sure that I know how Stacy's team is going to go with their narrative, and we're going to talk about that today after we go over some filings that have been made recently. Got lots of people coming in. Thank you guys all for being here. Hubby's just walking in the house. He's been working 3 hours away the last couple of days, coming in late. But yeah, lots of stuff to go over. We are going to be going over court documents. Sometimes that can get boring, but I guarantee you a lot of the court documents are pretty short. And I think they're really informative. I like court documents. What do we got to say in here? Let's see. Just looking through chat real quick, which, by the way, I will try to come over into chat as much as possible. But you guys know me. When I got a lot of stuff to show, it's very hard for me to catch stuff going on over in chat. And there's a lot going on right now. So if you guys are ready, I'm ready. We are Brandy Strong Opal. We're going to be there for the family, no matter what happens. I love the fact that you go over them to give a better understanding of what is being said. My brain, thanks for that. You are so, so welcome. Future lives, not everybody understands what a preliminary hearing is. And we're going to be talking about that in Future Live. What is it? What can we expect from it? And as it moves forward, as I believe that it will move forward, that Stacy will be charged, that there will be a trial, then I'm going to be here continuously doing what I'm doing to talk about everything I can. I am noticing a lot of things are being like, I don't know whether or not we're going to be able to see any court filings from the preliminary hearing or get any of that information. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on the court docs and see what's been sealed and what's not been sealed, because I'm seeing lots of filing done, sealing things. And there are several things that I know that have already been sealed. Thank God for screenshots, because I took screenshots of some of it, and now you go to click on it and it's not even there. So here's Michael Joseph Vaughn. Michael was abducted in Fruitland, Idaho, in his neighborhood as he wandered away from home when his dad, Tyler, was changing the baby's diaper and ordering pizza. Michael was very curious, and it wasn't the first time he had wandered away. He followed his brother once down to the splash pad, and his papa saw him and let him know, you can't wander away from home. But being just so curious, wanting to find some friends to play with, he wandered away. And during that time, there were monsters in the neighborhood, one of them being Stacy Wondra. The other three, Sarah Wondra, Adrian Lucian, and Brandon Shirtliff, all named suspects in Michael Vaughn's case. Stacy being the only one that's been charged with first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction of evidence this far. Because let's not forget that Brandy and Tyler and the whole Vaughn family will not just go through this one time. They're going to go through this when Sarah gets charged, when Adrian gets charged, when Brandon gets charged. And for the suspects, the other three suspects besides Stacy that think that that's not going to happen, I'm here to tell you it will. It really, really, truly will. Please, please continue to pray for the Vaughn family as they're going through this difficult time. Pray that Stacy Wandra will get charged and be moving to trial. And if you have any tips, please bring them to Fruitland Police. You can call the tip line at 208-642-6006, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. No tip is too big or too small. Let law enforcement determine whether or not your tip is credible. You don't want to hold on to anything. You don't want to have that weight on your shoulders. You want to tell law enforcement what you know, whether or not you have heard something. Even if you think it could be rumor, it may be a piece that goes with another piece that Fruitland has, and you just don't know it. And as soon as you give your information, things start clicking together, and that just helps make Michael's case stronger. Just because Stacy is fixing to have this preliminary hearing and has already been charged does not mean you stop giving tips. So please, if you have any information, call the tip line 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. We love you, Brandy. We love you, all of you, the Vaughn family. We're all here to support you. We are Monkey's Army. We're not going away. We're here to the very end. And you know, if you ever need anything, you can always give me a call, love, and I'm here. Okay, with all of that being said, I just want to thank everybody so much for being here again. And I want to send some prayers to my moderators. We've got AV, who is dealing with lots of ice and snow in her neck of the woods. Halo Art recently had surgery, and she is recovering at this time. And then Sarah, suspicious. Her dog just passed away. And, you know, that's almost like losing a family member. So just sending some prayers out to all my moderators, and want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to all of the people from here in chat that have emailed me, people from chat sending me messages in Messenger, my moderators, just people that have taken such an interest in Michael's case to help me by sending me research or sending me, hey, these are some court docs. Have you seen them yet? Whether I've seen them or not, or I go, oh, wow, no, I haven't seen this yet. So I just want to thank all of the people who help me, because it does take an army, and Monkey's Army has really, really gotten together, and we have been able to collect a lot of information over the past few months, over the last couple of years even. So I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody. Yeah, how many of us have let our children play outside in our safe neighborhood? I did when my kids were young. No one would ever think that we have these monsters next door. Exactly, Jane's addiction. You're so right. And it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking that in that moment that, you know, Michael wandered away from the house, that there were creeps right there. One of the things I want to go over, we've got a super chat. You know me, we got to do some dancing. Thank you, Shannon. If I can find my dance stuff. Gosh, it's been a minute. Super chat. Thank you, Samantha, for everything you do. And thank you, Shannon, for everything that you do. Angie, thank you for coming in. Tracy's also here. Gosh, so many people. Thank you guys all for coming. Pretty Assessor in the house. Mick Sporin from Scotland is here. It's no worries. You are just in time. You are not late. Missing persons around the world, thank you so much for coming in. All right. Okay, I think I'm done with chat. One of the first things that I want to talk about is Sarah and Stacy's status conference on their divorce. I did a recent short on it. I'm going to share it now, and then we're going to talk about it. Hold on one second. Hi, everybody. It's Samantha with Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. Here is a recent update on Sarah and Stacy's divorce. Stacy Wondra has filed multiple times for a divorce, but just never followed through with it. But on January 27th of 2025, he filed for a divorce again. On October 9th, 2025, there was an affidavit in support of default. What is that? It's a sworn statement filed by the petitioner, which is Stacy, to prove the respondent, Sarah, failed to file a response within 20 to 30 days of being served with her divorce papers. Honestly, she's in complete denial of any of this, and she just can't believe that Stacy Wandra is really divorcing her. On October 15th, 2025, just 6 days after Stacy filed that affidavit, the clerk filed a default. What is that? The clerk files a default in a divorce case after an affidavit has been submitted. It means the court has formally recognized that the respondent, which is Sarah, failed to answer the divorce petition by the deadline. On December 23rd, 2025, there was a civil letter, and in the comments it says returned paperwork notice Stacy Wondra. So it looks like Stacy returned some paperwork, and I don't know if this means he wrote a civil letter or he was served with a civil letter. There wasn't very much information about that. And then on January 29th, 2026, so just at the end of last month, there was a notice of a remote hearing. So it looks like Stacy and or Sarah will be going to court on February 17th, 2026 at the status conference that's being held in just a week or so. In this status conference, the judge is just going to look over the progress of this divorce and possibly set up another court hearing to finalize the divorce. I don't know what the laws are in Idaho about married couples testifying against each other, but this is all happening before Stacy Wandra's preliminary hearing, which will be held March 3rd through the 6th. And a status conference on March 2nd before all of the proceedings start out. And from what I understand, each attorney is going to have 2 days to make their case. So today is February 17th, and the status conference was supposed to be today. But I've heard through the grapevine that it didn't happen. And there isn't anything publicly put up yet. I don't know when they're rescheduling it or whatever. Domestic pinup, good to see you, hun. Plead the Fifth, I see you too. Thank you guys for coming in. So, yeah, it was scheduled. The status conference for the divorce was scheduled for today, but that did not happen. Another thing I want to talk about is Sarah. Well, before I get into court docs, let me do one more thing. I want to share another short that I just put up so I can explain to people, because I know people have lots of questions. Let me just put this up real quick. What you're about to hear is one of the Pope twins, Gabriel Pope, talking and having a conversation. Whenever him and his brother talk in messages, you know how you can push the record button? They love to do that. And it's actually helped us a little bit because we can actually hear them saying it. So this is Gabriel Pope talking about where he was and what he was doing before and during Michael's abduction. So before Michael was abducted, during and after Michael's abduction, because there were rumors being spread by a certain creator, the certain creator I always talk about. We all know who she is, that wants to say that the information being talked about with the Pope twins can't be true. Both of the twins were in jail at the time that Michael was abducted. Stop spreading your conspiracy theories and saying that these Pope twins were involved in Michael's abduction. Well, first of all, I'd just like to say There is no conspiracy theory here. I know the twins, or at least one of the twins, weren't in jail as of his own words. I also know that Adrian himself threw the Pope twins under the bus. And Adrian is the one who said that the Pope twins wanted to kill him. Adrian is the one who threw them under the bus and said that the twins were involved in Michael's disappearance and murder. Because I've shown a recording many, many times of the other Pope twin, Christian, also, using that little record button when he's sending a message saying that, I'll come after you if you keep talking about it. I didn't have anything to do with that kid's abduction or his murder. Keep talking. Yeah, and I'm coming after you is basically what that said. So how can I be coming up with some conspiracy theory that these Pope twins could have something to do with Michael's abduction and murder if Adrian's the one that's spewing all the information? Make that make sense. Okay, so let's play this. Everybody take a listen. Again, this is Gabriel Hope saying that he wasn't in jail. He says that he was on the run during the time frame of Michael's abduction.
I was on the run for a fat minute prior to that. And I was on the run during that time as well. I was on the run because he was staying at my mom's house with me. However, I was never at my mom's house because that's the main place the cops would look for me at. So I stayed away from there. So he was there by himself. I don't know his agenda or what it was.
And there, Gabriel Pope says that Adrian Lucien was staying at the Pope twins' mom's house. That him and Adrian were staying at his mom's house. He wasn't really hanging out there too much because that's where the cops always looked for him. And he's saying he doesn't know what Adrian's agenda was. But those rumors are going around saying that this is such a conspiracy theory. You tell me, why is Adrian Lucien staying with the Pope twins after Michael's abduction? You tell me why, when the Pope twins' mother has ties to human trafficking, why is Adrian Lucien staying there? And why do the Pope twins want to kill Adrian Lucien? Does Adrian have information? Is he the only one that has information about who was going to buy Michael? Because don't forget, Stacy Wondra says that each one of them, all four suspects, Sarah, Stacy, Adrian, and Brandon, were going to make $10,000. And this was all Adrian's idea. Let's listen to it one more time.
I was on the run for a fat minute prior to that. And I was on the run during that time as well. I was on the run because he was staying at my mom's house with me. However, I was never at my mom's house because that's the main place the cops would look for me at. So I stayed away from there. So he was there by himself. I don't know his agenda or what it was.
We don't come up with conspiracy theories here on Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. What I show are facts. I'm not going to lie about anything. I'm not going to try to spin a narrative. I don't do that. I've never done it. You'll never catch me doing it. But Gabriel Pope, in his own words, says that he was on the run and he wasn't in jail, and that Adrian was staying with his mom. And the question there before that was just, so what were you doing, before and after Michael's abduction? And pretty much, so this was after the abduction in July 2021, and that's what he says. I could go back and hold on. I can actually look at that. It says, so you were on the run for obstruction, and he was on the run for something, and you guys kind of were in hiding together after the July 21st or 2021 date. And then that's when Gabriel replies. And when was the only other time that Adrian was on the run? After Michael's abduction. My computer's trying to tell me to do a split screen. And I'm a computer dinosaur and I don't know how to do that shit. I can tell you one thing though. I've been focused on my shit, making moves in silence, man. Because I am bound and determined to just keep pushing out information. So, good to see you, Callie. So the next thing I want to, let me go over here to chat and see what you guys had to say about hearing Gabriel Pope talk. Let me just see. Pam Fogel is here. Good to see you. Yeah. Brandy's reaction to Gabriel Pope. It is a real, true, eye-opening know that Adrian talks about the Pope twins very often, has thrown them under the bus. And then you hear Gabriel in his own words explaining how Adrian stays at his house. It's huge. It's really, actually, really huge. I know one thing. When I heard that, I was like, you got to be shitting me. Like, this has been out this whole time. Like, where's it been? Where did you get it? What's going on? Okay? Because there are lots of people that work on this case. Gabriel's brother's name is Christian. So it's Gabriel and Christian Pope. And I keep telling you guys, I'm going to do the Pope twins live. It's coming. I'm still working on things. There is a lot of information, but I'm just telling you guys right now, look up Gabriel Pope, look up Christian Pope in Idaho. You'll start seeing all the stuff that's been against them. I mean, there's so much out there. The next thing I want to go over here is I'm getting a lot of questions about court proceedings. Or wait, let's go over something else real quick before we jump into Stacy's stuff. Let me just put this up. Let's talk about Sarah Wondra's parole. Everybody's been asking about Sarah. Hold on, you guys. I got to go get something off my printer. I'm sorry about that, guys. But that's it. One thing I've had to do. I went to the eye doctor recently and found out I have 6 cataracts in my right eye. So 6 cataracts in my right eye. And reading from the screen is just something I can no longer do. My eyes just don't want to focus. They've been really blurry lately, and now I know why. But my son-in-law came over, helped me fix my printer, and yeah, it's been so helpful being able to do that. And he also taught me how to turn information using the doc system to be able to print it, because my screenshots weren't printing correctly. But yeah, anyway, a lot of people have been asking about Sarah Wondra, what's going on with her, why hasn't she been charged? There's been a probable cause affidavit on her. You know, probable cause affidavit pretty much means she's been charged. It's just not been officially, I guess, charged. But we found out that on October 27th of 2025, Sarah Wondra did have a parole hearing. I've been waiting till February 20th because if you look into the court system in Idaho, it says that her parole hearing was for February 20th. I'm going to keep an eye out to see if they're doing something else with her parole on the 20th. But as far as I know, this is the information that's out there. She had a preliminary hearing. Oh, sorry, guys. We have Flo, who has been a member for 12 months. Thank you so much. She says, hey, beautiful, thanks for always keeping me updated. Blessings. Thank you, Flo, for being here for 12 months. I really appreciate that. You're such a lovely lady. I just love you so much. Thank you for being here and being a part of Missing PNW. So, yeah, in October, on the 27th, 2025, Sarah Wondra had her parole hearing. And then it was a regular parole hearing. No, I wish I would have made this. Yeah, a subtype. I don't know what that is. The hearing was a parole meeting type, and then hold on one second. The decision was to grant parole to detainer only. And I'm like, what the heck does this mean? What does this mean? So me and another lovely one of my partners looking into stuff and found out what a detainer is. And based on Idaho Department of Correction procedures, paroling to a detainer or detainer only, which is what this is, detainer only, parole means an inmate is released from custody on parole, but instead of being released into the community, they are immediately transferred to the custody of another jurisdiction that has a pending warrant or a hold. You guys understanding this? What happened to Stacy Wandra? He went into prison and they got him and arrested him for his warrant, for his hold after he served his time. The inmate does not have to leave the institution as a free person. They are released directly into the physical custody of the detaining authority. This process allows an inmate to begin serving time on a consecutive sentence, face pending charges in another jurisdiction, or be deported by immigration authorities. It's got something to do. And then I had to look up this, like, okay, so why? Why are they waiting for them to be done in prison before they do their arrest? Well, it makes sense. The detainer and priority of jurisdiction, administrative. A detainer is essentially a hold placed by the parole board on a person currently in local jail or prison. It ensures the inmate does not get released from custody. It is often easier and less expensive for the state to allow the original sentence to be finished first, rather than having to use the state's money for transporting the defendant back and forth between prison or jail to the county jail for trial. So it's basically to save the state money is what it really comes down to. But there is a detainer only. What does that mean? Means an inmate is released from custody on parole, but instead of being released into the community, they are immediately transferred to the custody of another jurisdiction that has a pending warrant or hold. I read this as Sarah Wondra is going to be charged. It's already written out in that probable cause affidavit. It's the exact same probable cause affidavit on Stacy when she is released. And we have her release date here. And it's going to be on October 27th of 2026. That is when her the tentative parole date is, basically when she's going to be released. So baby kisses, in my opinion, they should never be free. And she won't. She won't be free. From what I'm understanding here, Sarah Wondra is going to be charged as soon as she's released from where she's currently serving time. So yeah, I found all of that really, really interesting. All right. So now that we've gone over that, we are going to hop right into all of this other information, that recent filings that started. And Mama's saying here, just like they did with Stacy. And I'm telling you, I was looking everywhere in the court system and was only seeing February 20th. One of my lovely chat members here found the information that I just shared. That's why I'm thanking everybody. Like, Monkey's Army is truly coming together. We all want justice for Michael Vaughn. We want the Vaughn family to know we are here for you. And they're really showing up, Brandy. They really are. This brought me to happy tears. Oh, Flo, you're so sweet. I'm sorry you're crying, though. I mean, yeah, happy tears. I mean, I have to admit, I wasn't crying. I was more like dancing around like, oh, yeah, hell yeah. That's good news to hear that it's going to happen. This way, they can focus on one person at a time, in my opinion. Absolutely, baby kisses. Like, now they can just worry about Stacy, focus on him, which is kind of showing like a pattern, right? Like, we don't know, you know, after the preliminary hearing, I always say when trial starts, you know, we're not sure if they were going to be tried together, not tried together. Still unsure on that because we don't know when trial is going to start and stuff. But we do know Sarah's got a hold on her. She has a hold and she will not be released to anybody but Fruitland. I mean, who else has got a hold on Sarah, okay? Come on. That's common sense to me. Don't be. This is joy, Flo says. Well, good. I'm so glad. I'm happy that it's happy tears. Okay, so I want to go over this kind of just like briefly. I mean, I guess I don't know really how you can go over it briefly. There was an order governing courtroom courthouse conduct. I have a lot of people asking me, Sam, you know, do you guys know whether or not the public's going to be able to be present during the preliminary hearing? My answer to that question is still, I'm not sure. I cannot seem to find out. But I did find this. I found this order governing courtroom courthouse conduct. And this was filed November 12th of 2025, and Stacy's arraignment to be charged was November 17th, 2025. The thing is this isn't specific on whether or not these, it's not specific in the fact of, was it just for Stacy's last hearing for his arraignment, or will this continue? Because it says this order shall govern courtroom conduct and media activities within the courtroom in this matter and may be amended as from time to time in the discretion of the court. And it kind of seems to me that this is kind of like a long-term order. And this is what the order says. The court is mindful of the need to balance, 1, the defendant's constitutional right to a fair hearing, 2, the public's right to information in conjunction with the constitutional and statutory rights of the media to attend court proceedings, 3, the court's interest in maintaining order and an environment which permits all participants to focus on their responsibilities without undue distractions, and 4, the court's interest in the safety of the public and court personnel and the need to follow all Idaho Supreme Court orders and 3rd Judicial District administrative orders. With these factors in mind, the pursuant to Idaho Court administrative rules, the court orders as follow. Courtroom seating and attendance. Seating for victim's family, defendant's family, counsel, other court personnel. Certain seating may be reserved for counsel, authorized court personnel, the victim's family, and the defendant's family. Such reservation shall be designated and managed by the trial court administrator and the court marshals. B, which is the pooled media, the representatives of the media serving as the pooled camera staff shall be seated in an area approved by the court as designated by the trial court administrator of court marshals, subject to, here, let me move forward to this doc. Where was I? Shall be seated in the area approved by the court and designated by the trial court administrator or court marshal, subject to the limit of 3 media members operating the pooled broadcast / recording of the proceeding, media member handling the pooled still photography. Basically just talking about where the media is allowed to be and how many people each media outlet is going to allow, you know, with their camera, which is 3 people, I guess. Public and additional media. The public and members of the media not designated as pool media may be permitted in the courtroom as space permits on the first come basis. No person may reserve seats. No standing in the courtroom will be allowed. This is saying that the public is allowed to be in the courtroom. Again, this was filed before his arraignment, but it doesn't give a date. So I'm just wondering whether or not this will be continued. I am still trying to find it though. Seating in the front bar isn't allowed. That's, you know, the bar. I'm not going to read all of that. That's the bar. That's attorneys, you know, sit at the table with Stacy Wondra, and then the prosecuting attorneys will sit at the other table, the judge above the bar. No one's allowed to be in there. Entry and exiting during the court proceedings. Spectators, including members of the media and the public, shall be seated before the court is in session and shall remain seated until the proceedings are in session. No entry or re-entry to the courtroom shall be permitted while court is in session. So if you are going to go, be there before court starts, because they're not going to allow anybody in. And if you leave once you get in, you're not going to be allowed to come back. The general restrictions and requirements, security screening. All persons entered into the courtroom are subject to security screenings. Handbags, backpacks, and other carry-ins are subject to inspection and may be denied entry at the decision of the court and the court martial. Cell phones, with the exception of approved media, counsel and their staff and court personnel, cell phones and other electronics are not permitted in the courtroom. If a cell phone or other electronic device makes any noise or report it is found to in the courtroom, it will be confiscated by the court martial. Other electronic devices, court personnel, counsel and their staff and members of the media may utilize laptops, tablets, and other similar devices for the purposes of the note taking, but shall not record or transmit images or audio into or out of the courtroom. Any violation of this rule will result in confiscation of the device. And then moving on here, disruptive behavior. Any activity or behavior which is considered disruptive by the court will result in removal from the courtroom. Any spectator who creates a visual or disturbance of the court proceeding will be removed from the courtroom and or the building at any time of the discretion of the court and the court marshals, and may not be permitted to return. So then it just goes into like the media coverage. I'm understanding that the accessibility of video and audio and still images, if a person asks the media for those things, they're supposed to produce it. Do we know whether or not it's going to be televised? I don't know. I'm still looking into it. Brandy has told Purple, and Purple has also said that she would let us all know if they find out. So everybody's just kind of waiting to find out if it's going to be televised or not. And like I said before, if it is, I'll be here. We'll be streaming it live. Then there's no media interviews or reporting shall be conducted in the courtroom. Yeah, I'm basically going over disruptive behavior again. So if the public is allowed to be there, no, you are not going to be able to bring your cell phone in. They're going to search everything that you have on you. Be there when court starts, or even earlier. Try to be there and get a seat, because seat is limited. Brandy has said that the courtroom is very small. So if you plan on going, and they do let you in. And from what I'm reading, like it says, this order shall govern courtroom conduct and media activities within the courtroom in this matter and may be amended as from time to time in the discretion of the court. Even though this was filed prior to Stacy's arraignment, it really could be still standing in that they are going to allow the public in the courtroom. If you get there and you find out that, okay, I can't, let me know. I will let other people know. But no, really, if we find out that, you know, we cannot support Brandy in the courtroom by being there with her, then, you know, we can support her outside the courtroom. We can hold signs, you know, outside the courtroom saying justice for Michael Vaughn, or convict Stacey Wondra, or whatever you want to do to support the family. My plans were to go to Idaho once I found out that it could be public. Not being able to find out 100% whether or not it was public has really put me in a predicament. And then my husband did start a job because we didn't know if he was going to be home or not, and he was going to come with me. But yeah, with everything up in the air, it just didn't happen for me and my husband. So I'm going to be here, and, you know, I am hoping that it's televised, not because I can stream it, because I want to know, right? Don't we all want to know what happens at this preliminary hearing? The discovery information in this case is huge. Anybody that's into true crime wants to know. I want to know so that I can keep trying to put out information in Michael's case, because it's important for all of us to understand what's going on in this case. So, moving on. Like I said, got a lot to talk about today. Beverly, you are just fine being late, hun. Just went over a couple of things. Not, you might want to rewind just for a couple of things, but I'm just now getting into the recent filings that I find extremely important in this case. Okay, so moving on. On 12/9/2025, a subpoena was issued. I hate it when I can't see. Subpoena DT inmate Phoenix. Dang it. I knew it was going to do that. Hold on. I've got my little station here. So it says inmates here. And I found court documents that were filed, a subpoena for Phoenix, Arizona, for Tucson, Arizona, and for California. Okay? They all say inmate on them. But the information that I found in court documents, because I believe that the subpoenas for the inmates have been sealed, if I'm reading everything right, as to not give any information about the inmate, what their names are, whatnot. We're going to go over this right here. That says, let me see. So again, on 12/9/2025, there was a subpoena issued for DT, other inmates, FCI, which is Federal Correctional Institution, Phoenix, Arizona. Subpoenaing other inmates for testimony or documents requires navigating specific Department of Corrections or jail procedures, as the witnesses are in state's custody. Subpoenas to incarcerated individuals must be served at the facility where they are housed. Here are the requirements and procedures based on general guidelines and Washington state rules, or Idaho state rules. Did that say? Hold on a second. I guess this was Washington state rules. Anyway, court rules generally require personal services for a subpoena, duces tectum or tecum directed to the Department of Corrections to be enforceable. Subpoenas for incarcerated individuals must be served directly at the facility in which they are housed. In many jurisdictions, the watch commander is responsible for accepting and processing the subpoenas for both staff and inmates. If an inmate is needed for testimony, a transport order must be submitted to the facility. Requesting documents direct to the custodian. Subpoenas for records must be served to the facility's designated authority. Out of state, if the inmate is in a different state, you may need to use the Uniform Act to secure the attendance of witnesses from without a state or criminal proceedings. So that's what I found out about the inmates. This is already what I just went over. And then this is the Phoenix, Arizona filing that was made. And it says, the state of Idaho sends greetings to Federal Bureau of Prisons, Phoenix, Consolidated Legal Center, FCI, Phoenix, Arizona. We command you to produce the following information regarding any recorded communications that were received or sent by the inmate described as Stacy James Wandra. Gives his date of birth during his incarceration while at the Federal Corrections Institution of Phoenix from July 2nd, 2025 through July 17th, 2025. Please include a copy of any phone calls, video chats, text message, or any other form of communication that is preserved by the facility or its employees or contractors, excluding any communication with counsel on record. So they want his text messages, his phone calls. They want it all. They want all of that information that the prison has to be given to them so they can use this information in court. Information regarding Stacy Wandra, including the disciplinary notes and any records kept regarding the individual, including but not limited to medical, behavior, and medication records. And from what I understand, Stacy is taking medications. And then it goes on to say here, Certified copies of the documents and/or copies of recordings may be mailed to Michael Duke Payette, gives the address, gives the time, talks about payment. Please ensure certification affidavit, David. So that's basically just a signature. Given. Again, this is the subpoena for Phoenix, Arizona. But as you can see here, it's important again that I point out hold on one second, a piece of paper got stuck. Just wanting to point out that in here, it's not talking about inmates. So they have subpoenaed Phoenix, Arizona prison, and I believe the subpoena regarding the inmates that goes to the prison itself has been sealed. But this was filed. So okay, that goes over there somewhere. Sorry, you guys. And then, like I said earlier, there is another on November 9th, 2025. A subpoena is issued. This one is subpoena DT other inmates for the Federal Correctional Institution of Tucson, Arizona. Again, says inmates could not find any court documents mentioning the inmates themselves. Like I said, there's been lots of stuff filed, sealed, and this is basically saying the same thing. This is to Tucson, Arizona. We command you to produce the following information regarding any recorded communications that were received or sent by the inmate described as Stacy James Wandra, including incarcerations while at FCC Tucson from June 10th, 2025 through the present date. Please include a copy of any phone calls, video chats, text messages, or any other form of communication that is preserved by the facility or its employees or contractors. Information regarding the name of the account holder, including the disciplinary notes and any records kept regarding the individual, including but not limited to medical behavior and medication records. Information regarding whether said account has been closed, and if so, what date the account was closed. In addition, information regarding whether the account holder was notified of the closure of the account, and if so, on what date and by what method was notifications made. And then, of course, it's got Mike Duke, his address, and all of his information, and all of that kind of good stuff here on this last page. So basically saying the same exact thing as the Phoenix, Arizona. And this was for Tucson. And then instead of reading this last one, it is for Los Angeles. The same thing. It is just basically wanting information by recorded conversations, phone calls, video chats, text messages. So they are collecting all of this stuff, which can be used as evidence, because Stacy Wondra has told multiple people what happened. He pretty much gave a confession that was recorded and released to the public, right? We know that. And we know within that he had a phone conversation with his mom, and he told his mom what he did, what he saw, what happened. And from the looks of it, Stacy seems to be running his mouth and telling other people what the hell he's done. Inmates. And I believe that that's why they have these subpoenas where it says inmates. And I just think that, you know, everything that's going to be going to court, those subpoenas have been sealed. Because when you look even for the other subpoenas that are out there, the information on those people, which we'll get to that soon too, are also not available. And then I just wanted to throw this in because there were, again, this is the Los Angeles court document, Federal Correctional Institution in Mendota, which is what was in Los Angeles. It is the prison in Fresno County. And when I put this information out there months ago and shared that Stacy Wondra got housed here in Washington first, up in SeaTac prison. Then he was moved from SeaTac down to Los Angeles and stayed in Fresno County's Federal Correctional Institution. Then he was moved to Phoenix and then Tucson. And when I came out with this information and said that he was in California, I had a lot of people saying like, no, he wasn't. Yes, he was. Just wanted to let it all sure. And now we've got, you know, information and court documents to support that information. And now we're going to go over some other stuff filed. Why is this this is driving me crazy. I have to have everything in order. And I've got this one little piece of paper and I'm like, where the hell did this come from? And where does it go? Because it's not paper clipped to anything. I guess I'll find out when I don't have the information, right? Ugh. Okay. So let me put this back. I have to get it all back in order. I've got folders and files and court docs and everything, and here it is. And I've just got to be watching everything I'm doing and how I'm filing it and putting it all together in case I need to come back to it later in the future. Lord knows we might have to come back and look at other stuff. So let's see what else we got here. On 12/11/2025, court documents were filed and they were court minutes. And here is the court minute. I believe it's only one page. Pretty simple. It just says the judge's names, the clerk's names, the court reporter. The date was 12/11/2025. So this is December 11, 2025. Parties are Stacy Wondra in the state of Idaho. And then Amy Smith, public defender, present Payette County prosecutor, prosecuting attorney present. Hearing starts 11:29 a.m. The court ascertained the case was set for today regarding scheduling of the preliminary hearing, because the preliminary hearing was actually supposed to be a while back ago, but it says in this court document, Mr. I don't even know how to say his name, you guys, so I'm guessing Govia, advised the court that due to the large amount of discovery Defense counsel is requesting a set over for the early part of March. All parties agree that the first week of March will work, and Mike Duke feels that 2 days should be sufficient. He's basically saying, give me 2 days, and Ms. Smith agrees with the state's assessment on their questioning will last for 2 days. This is how we know the prosecutors are going to get 2 days, and then the defendants are going to get 2 days. And the defense will be taken on additional 2, and they will also need to factor in whether they would want to put on their own evidence to challenge probable cause. So the court ordered the hearing for 12/15/2025 and 12/16/2025 are vacated and rescheduled the status conference, which was 3/2 of 2026. And then the preliminary hearing for March 3rd through March 6th at 9 a.m. in the morning. So that's what the court minutes are. Basically, just going over the change in time of the preliminary hearing. This was filed 12/11/2025. It's a notice of a hearing. This is really simple. Just documents going out, talking about the time of the hearing, the status conference being March 2nd at 11 a.m., and then the preliminary hearing for, 4 days in a row at 9 a.m. from the 3rd to the 6th. Pretty simple, guys. And then notice of reassignment. Stacy Wondra's original attorneys, except for one actually, were reassigned. And we're going to go over that because it's kind of interesting. So this is a notice of reassignment by the state of Idaho public defender. Comes now the state of Idaho public defenders and hereby provides notice that Anthony Geddes, Isaiah Govia, and Abby Broyles have been reassigned to represent the above named defendant, which is Stacy Wondra, in the above entitled matter. All further communication related to this matter should be directed to the reassigned attorneys, dated the 17th day of December. And then it just goes on, signatures and all that good stuff. Now, prior to this reassignment, there was the original assignment of attorneys that says, so this is notice of assignment by state of Idaho public defender. Comes now the state of Idaho public defender and hereby provides notice that Amy Smith, lead counsel, and Isaiah Govia, co-counsel, have been assigned to represent the above named defendant in the above titled matter. So Amy Smith was his original lead counsel, and Isaiah was co-counsel. And as you go on and see the reassignment, Isaiah Govia is still the co-counsel, and Anthony Geddes, if I'm saying that right, is the lead counsel. it was kind of strange because as we were looking at this, me and a few other people, we were looking at the dates of like a discovery request and everything else, but the recovery request was made by the first attorneys that were put on Stacy's case. And then after they asked for the discovery, and I'm assuming as discovery information came in, because they only have a certain amount of time to produce that, then counsel changes. So it's like, why was this counsel changed? And there's also been judges reassigned and stuff from this case. So I don't know. I thought that information was kind of intriguing. Hello, Evie. Good to see you, hun. Those are public defenders I have never heard of, Shannon says. And she lives nearby. So, yeah. I don't know if you're in Fruitland or not, or just nearby, Shannon, but yeah. So, like, who are these public defenders? Don't know. Now we get to 1/6/2026 with a supplemental notice of compliance. So there was a supplemental notice of compliance that was filed. Once again, that was probably sealed as well because I couldn't find it. Oh, I found out where that little piece of paper went. Yay. Sorry, you guys. All right. But I did find what a notice of compliance is, because one was filed on December 2nd of 2025. So supplemental notice of compliance. And here's the thing, you guys. Once again, rumors out there flying around. Shannon saying that the judge's changes is pretty common for this case, for cases like this. Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know. Once again, rumors flying around that these notice of compliances or supplemental notice of compliance, because then there's a second supplemental notice of compliance and a third supplemental notice of compliance. That it's strange and unusual that this is how this information comes out. Basically, like, the district attorney's office is being corrupt and they're not producing the information correctly. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? Just saying. Like, I'm allergic to the bullshit. Okay? I don't even want to listen to it anymore. It is so normal for stuff to be filed. This, like, say the discovery's been filed, or maybe part of the discovery was filed and then more information came in and then they had to deliver more of the discovery or add more. They can keep adding more up until the preliminary hearing. From what I understand, it is perfectly normal. So it just mentions a supplemental notice of compliance. I found this. Comes now the plaintiffs of the state of Idaho and serves notice upon the court and submits a response to the defendant's request for discovery. Plaintiff, which is the state, has complied with such request by providing to the defendant all information information, documents, and reports in the custody and or control, said response will be supplemented as appropriate. 2nd day of December 2025. And then there's a certificate of delivery. Once again, this was complying with something that was asked, you know, back with the first attorneys, but it gives us a good idea about what is a notice of compliance. It's just basically saying, you know, I, the state, have done exactly what I'm supposed to do, and now it's documented. And then this is the second page of this that I just went over. So let's talk about compliance, okay? We've got supplemental notice of compliance, second supplemental notice of compliance, third supplemental notice of compliance. One was on January 6th. One was on January 24th. One was on January 27th. Is this normal? Yes, it's normal. This is the information that I looked up and found. In an Idaho murder and kidnapping case, specifically the high-profile state of Idaho, like Brian C. Koberger, supplemental notice of compliance is a formal court filing used by either the prosecution or the defense to confirm that they have provided additional evidence, documents, or information to the opposing side as required by discovery rules. Just basically saying, like, I've done what I'm supposed to do. It signifies that supplemental discovery has been handed over. This often includes things like digital forensic data, expert witness reports, or updated witness lists. And under Idaho Criminal Rule 16, both sides must continually, okay, let me just say this, continually disclose relevant evidence, a notice of compliance. So if they have to continually disclose the information, it isn't abnormal. There's no conspiracy here that the district attorney's office would need to file not one, but two, and maybe not two, but three supplemental notices of compliance. Okay, tells the judge that a party has followed a specific court order or deadline to share these materials. In the Koberger case, numerous supplemental notices were filed as the defense processes over 68 terabytes of data, and the state provides forensic details regarding, you know, bloodstain patterns, autopsy reports. That was all in the Koberger case. But it typically means that the side that filed is just delivered a batch of new evidence to the other team to ensure the trial remains fair and compliant with the law. And then a second compliance, supplemental compliance. A second supplemental notice of compliance in Idaho generally refers to a document filed in a legal proceeding, often in high-profile criminal cases or complex civil litigation, where a party, typically the state or prosecution, confirms they have provided additional evidence, documents, or information to the opposing party in response to discovery requests. Discovery compliance is when a defendant files multiple requests for discovery in a criminal case. The state may file supplemental responses or notices of compliance to show they are continuing to turn over new evidence as it comes available or as ordered by the court. The use of second indicates it is the third installment of such evidence following the initial disclosure and the first supplemental. I hate rumors, guys. I hate it when somebody tries to take something, spin it, and make their own narrative of something out of something that's simple. This is simple. And then, of course, there is the third compliance. This is what I just went over. Sorry, guys, I didn't move forward. Then there's the notice of the third compliance. In high-profile or complex cases, parties often file multiple supplemental documents. Defendant's third notice of supplemental declarations or state response or defendant supplemental request. Agencies may issue supplemental notices when adopting temporary rules. So they are making sure they have everything locked in tight. Exactly. They're just making sure that Stacy Wandra's attorneys can't come in and say, hey, the district attorney didn't do this. The district attorney didn't do that. They are dotting their I's, crossing their T's, and making sure that they have done everything they possibly can. They don't want the defendants to be able to come at them with anything that would put this for like a mistrial or something. And thank you so much, Shannon, for being a member for 3 months. I really appreciate that. Let me see if I can get my court documents in order real quick so I can move forward. But yeah, certain creator wanted to turn this all around and make it look like, you know, this was all done wrong when it wasn't. Okay, and now oh, we're almost to Stacy Wandra's little letter. Then we also have the seal of various pro-seal filings filed, which is orders sealing documents. Under Idaho court administrative rule requires a written determination by the court that the materials contain highly intimate facts, are potentially, what is this? Libelous, I don't know, or compromise financial, personal security. The motion must be filed with a supporting memorandum and declaration justifying the seal to overcome the public's right to access. Key requirements for sealing documents. So basically, I found some information just talking about the fact that they have and did seal up some documents. And then we have a subpoena for Brandy, a subpoena for Tyler Vaughn, and we have a subpoena for Dorothy Starkey. And I want to take this down for just a minute so I can share my screen and share with you guys what Brandy read last week about her subpoena. Because once again, rumors being spread, things being said that are not true, her subpoena and Tyler's subpoena was a subpoena from the state, not Stacy Wandra's attorney. So let me just share this and I'll let you guys listen to this for a minute. And okay. It's about 7 minutes long, you guys. Some of you guys have probably already seen it because I did make a video and post this up already, but some people only come in during the lives.
Hi, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. I know it's been a minute since I've come on and shared a few things or, you know, talked about Michael's case. And just to give everybody a, hey, I'm still here. We're still here. Well, I'm sure as everyone knows in Monkey's Army, in 22 days, proceedings will start against Stacy James Wandra. Yeah, and it's been a really hard, emotional couple months. We received our subpoenas to court. I know there's been questions about subpoenas had gone out on the 23rd of January. Tyler and I did receive ours. I just haven't been able to bring myself to read this document publicly. It feels unreal. It still is this nightmare that just doesn't end. And we still do not have Michael. They still will not tell us where he is. So I wanted to read the subpoena that Tyler and I got. For those of you that are, well, why would you two be subpoenaed? Well, we are Michael's parents, and we both seen him that day. Tyler was the last person to see him, you know, the parent inside. So just trying to wrap our heads around all of that. So if there's questions. So it says in the District Court of the 3rd Judicial District of the State of Idaho in and for the County of Payette, the State of Idaho versus Stacy James Wandra. To Brandy Vaughn, you are commanded to appear before the 3rd Judicial District in and for the County of Payette. It gives the address for Payette, Idaho, for a preliminary hearing on the 3rd day of March, 2026 at 9 a.m. and continuing every day thereafter until released by the court as a witness in an action prosecuted by the state of Idaho against the above named defendant. This subpoena cancels and supersedes any prior subpoena for the above referenced hearing you have received. Disobedience of this order and failure to appear will be punished as contempt of court and may subject you to penalties as prescribed by the court. We'll be there anyways, we know this. I will be there on the 2nd as well for the, I'm not sure what hearing that is on that day. Dated this 23rd of January, 2026. The offense, murder in the 1st degree, kidnapping in the 1st degree, kidnapping in the 2nd degree, conspiracy, and destruction of evidence. So I don't remember if those.
So when she talks about in the 1st degree and in the 2nd degree kidnapping, I did put in this short, that's new to our ears. Is he being charged with that? Doesn't mean he's being charged with that, but that information was new to our ears, and so is conspiracy. So when she read this, I'm thinking, wow, is this new stuff that's coming along or not? And even she says, like, she wasn't even sure if this was new information or not. because her memory, because of the seizure that she had and stuff, she's, comprehending everything and doing the best that she can.
Other charges were on there and I have blocked them out. But here they sit in black and white. Yeah. And the date of offense is 07/27/2021. Signed, Michael Duke, prosecuting attorney for the county of Payette. So I wanted to, there were some of those questions going around. There's been some comments. I thought he was dead. Why do you keep doing this if you know he's gone? Businesses have started taking down the missing flyers for Michael. As much as it hurts, I do understand. It's been almost 4.5 years. This year will make 5 years, and Michael will be 10. They're still looking for tips for anybody that has knowledge of what transpired on July 27th of 2021. I do believe there are others than those 4 suspects that have knowledge, and they refuse to come forward. Some of them are even protecting these suspects. I still don't understand that. But to the people that are local, I understand if you don't want to have the flyers up anymore, but for those that do, I can bring new ones around. I can have somebody drive me to bring some around. It has been pretty nice. So one of the community members that's over here in the neighborhood has been putting up some personalized ones on the poles all around the corners, and the yard signs, especially where they said they pulled over. Just a reminder to everybody that these 4 monsters will not tell us where Michael is. How many times can you go through the wheel of grief? I've lost count. A long time ago. A long time ago. So it was so good to see everybody, and I all love you so very much. Please keep Tyler and myself and our family in your prayers. It's going to be a rough start to another part of this road. So, but we're here for it. We're here for Michael. We're strong. I'm even stronger.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're going to get Michael's justice. We're going to get justice for him. You just need to give us that one answer to that question. It's such a simple question. So, anyways, I love you all. Purple, thank you very much. And I'll be around, y'all. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. All right, honey.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
So again, that's credit for the roundtable, a conversation that Purple had with Brandy. Well, Brandy updates on the roundtable. And, I just don't understand how anybody can ask the mother of a missing child, of a kidnapped child, murdered child, why are you still doing this if you know your son's dead? Well, first of all, whoever said that to her, it isn't any of your damn business. She is trying to bring awareness for her son by putting up flyers. Is it sad that some people have stopped putting up flyers for Michael? Yes. Why? Because it still brings awareness. It still lets people know. And Brandy is here saying that February 28th will be 6 months, everybody, since my transplant. That is so amazing. And you look so good in your video. I remember how thin you got before you got your transplant. I know that we were all just wondering whether or not you were going to survive it or not. Wow, 6 months. 6 months already. Time's just flying by. If you received a Missing PNW membership, please thank Shannon. And again, we're going to have to dance for a new whisperer in the house. Thank you so much, Shannon. I really appreciate that. And, you know, we are all still praying for you, Brandy, and the family. We know this is difficult. And yeah, I'm not sure whether or not you have to testify and give testimony for anything. I know that's probably going to be really hard if you do. You know, we're not sure if Stacy Wondra, I'm pretty sure Stacy Wandra has to be there in the courtroom. Before I move over, though, with like more information, we talked about earlier about the subpoena to the inmate stuff, and I forgot to play another video because there was a news reporter that caught something that was said or when he was talking to somebody. So I want to go over this information with you guys. Just want to share this news thing with you guys. And this is what came out when Stacy was brought back from Arizona. And I'm going to pause right before it gets to what I'm really wanting to go back and talk about right here.
I'm senior reporter Don Nelson live in Payette, outside the Payette County Courthouse, where Stacy Wondra is back in Idaho. He arrived early this morning. Of course, we have reported on the story from the get-go. Stacy Wondra, one of 4 people accused in the disappearance of Michael Vaughn. Now, I can tell you that Wondra arrived early this morning from Arizona, where he was in jail on unrelated charges. As Idaho News 6 reported, Stacy Wondra has been charged with first-degree murder and second-degree kidnapping and destruction of evidence. I asked Payette County Sheriff Andy Creech. He told me that Michael Vaughn's mother was in court here this morning, a family looking for closure.
I'm just hoping that this brings some kind of closure to the family. I know that they just want their son to be brought home. And that's really, I think, where most of us are at, that they need some kind of closure to this one way or another.
As you remember, and we have reported, 5-year-old Michael was last seen outside his family's Fruitland home in July of 2021. Sarah Wondra, Stacy's wife, is in custody on unrelated charges south of Boise. And what was interesting, I asked,
and here it is right here. He says, what is interesting is he asked, and this is pertaining to the fact that there's subpoenas that mention inmates. And this is what this news reporter had to say about it. And I was so glad that I remembered this, because I went over this over and over and over. And I'm like, what does this guy know that he's not really saying?
Sheriff Creech, the intel that they received in Arizona to get that information, to make that charge, and he was already incarcerated, and to get him extradited back to Idaho. Did he tell another cellmate? Did another cellmate hear him talking to somebody else? Did a guard working at the facility in Maricopa County hear something? Sheriff Creech says he doesn't know, but we'll find out. We'll continue to follow the story, but we can tell you that Stacy Wondra is back in Idaho. He is in a jail cell in this building, the Payette County Courthouse, right behind me. And we'll have updates for you, of course, on Idaho News 6 later on today at 5 o'clock and, of course, at 10 o'clock.
So yeah, he's talking about, did an inmate talk? Did, somebody hear something? Could it have been a guard? Could, somebody there may have information. Oh, hold on a second. So, what is the other thing? Another thing, like I said earlier, Sarah and Stacy Wandra were supposed to have a court hearing today. It was a status conference to talk about their divorce. I don't know what Stacy's thinking. So he writes a letter to Sarah, but he sends it to Kay, Sarah's mom. And then Sarah's mom reads it to Sarah. And Stacy just straight up thinks that Sarah can't testify against him. He is either thinking that she can't or she won't. But I have looked up and found out that regarding kidnapping and murder of a child, even if a state says that, married couples can't testify against each other, when it comes to a 5-year-old kidnapping and murdered child, that does not come into play. They can, and they can even be forced to testify against one another if need be. So Stacy Wondra is ridiculous. We already know this. I bet the order creator is telling him that. I have a letter here. Well, it's a document. It's, how Stacy does. He's always in his own handwriting, filing things with the court and all that kind of stuff. And this is something, an affidavit that he filed that I'm going to share with you. And in my personal opinion, this is how I believe that the defendant, Stacy Wondra, and his team are going to move forward come the preliminary hearing. Okay? Because, oh my gosh, he's ridiculous. He's just ridiculous. Before we get into the letter, though, let's also talk about the fact that Dorothy Starkey also got a subpoena. And in the probable cause affidavit, it says that Dorothy Starkey saw Michael on the tricycle on the corner of Red Wing and another street that goes up into that neighborhood. There is no, like I said, Tyler and Brandy's documents were sealed to protect their private information. It was sealed. The subpoena for Dorothy Starkey was sealed. So pretty much I'm finding right now that everything being filed with the court for those preliminary hearings pretty much getting sealed up. You can't find this letter or this filing of this affidavit by Stacy Wandra in the court system. From what I can tell now, it just like shows blank. So I think he and his team have tried to seal this up. Thank God, taking screenshots early. But yeah, Dorothy Starkey was also subpoenaed to go to court. And we've still got 2 weeks before the preliminary hearing comes. There could be more subpoenas put out. There could be more witnesses coming in. Like I said earlier, if any more tips come in or any more evidence come in, they're going to add that to the discovery. And then they can keep doing that up until the court date. And then the rest of these documents moving forward is just talking about the date on March 2nd. And then the preliminary hearing on all of the dates from the 3rd to the 6th, and the time. And he's a goofball, and that's why I use this picture. This is Stacy Wondra's filing to the court that I believe this is the direction that he's going, that his attorney and his teams are going. So this was filed August 5th of 2025 in the district court for the 3rd Judicial District for the state of Idaho in and for the county of Payette, state of Idaho. Plaintiff versus Stacey Wondra, defendant, gives the case number, affidavit. Stacey Wandra certify, I am the defendant in the above entitled action. And Stacey says, I have not been served a warrant or shown a warrant. I have not been read or given my Miranda rights. I have not been afforded my right to an arraignment hearing within 72 hours. My right to due process has been violated. My 8th Amendment to be free from cruel and unusual punishment has been violated by the statement I made to Fruitland police detectives was leaked out to the press, putting my life in imminent danger to society, when such statement was not to be released without charges being brought and a discovery being issued. My 4th Amendment being violated for illegal search and seizure by seizing my computer I financed through Central Rent to Own without providing a warrant to seize property, as the only warrant given to seize property was issued in April 14th of 2022. And Stacy Wondra is plain victim. This is ridiculous, right? And here's Mama. You might remember who he talks to every single day, not just his lawyer. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I certify under penalty of perjury pursuant to the law of state of Idaho that the foregoing is true and correct. Really? He really wants to try to say he's a victim in all of this and that his rights have been violated? He's the one that called the detectives to come in and talk to him, but his rights were violated. So then there is a let me get this. Sorry, you guys, I have to staple and unstaple, or not paperclip, I mean, to keep all my stuff in order. I did not have any nice words to say about you, him being in danger or fear of his life. What about my oh, hold on one second, Brandy, I lost you. I was trying to read it. I did not have any nice words to say about him being in danger or fear for his life. What about my children? What about Michael? Exactly. And that's the whole point. He is not a friggin' victim. Michael is the victim. The Vaughn family is the victim. This is an objection to the motion to dismiss. or objection to motion to dismiss. Comes now Kimberly with Payette County prosecuting attorney and hereby objects to the defendant's motion to dismiss. This came in September 9th, so pretty much after Stacy filed that, like a month after Stacy filed the affidavit. Defendant has claimed 3 things in the motion to dismiss: failure of the state to provide documentation to support a detainer, that his right to an arraignment hearing within 72 hours has been neglected, and that his right to due process was violated by his statements being released to the public, and that his 8th Amendment rights were violated. And after review, the state requests that this court deny the defendant's motion and further direct the defendant to ensure that future pleadings are properly served upon the state. So not only did Stacy say all of these things, he didn't even properly serve the state what he filed with the court. Defendant number 1. Defendant claims that plaintiff has failed to provide any documentation or evidence to support the detainer to hold him pending extradition to Idaho. Here, the state has elected to file a petition for a writ of, habeas corpus, I don't even know how to say that word, in order to expedite the matter, not a detainer. So they're basically saying there was no detainer. It was an expedite matter. There are 2 distinct procedural mechanisms to secure the presence of the defendant. The state is not required to file one or the other. Under the Idaho criminal rules, the court was provided a probable cause affidavit with the complaint. The court found probable cause and issued a warrant for the charges of murder in the 1st degree, kidnapping in the 2nd degree, destruction or concealment of evidence. A persistent violator enhancement was also filed under Idaho code. The state, I'm going to get you guys up to where I'm at here. Hold on one second. The state properly provided the court with the evidence necessary for a warrant to be issued under Idaho Criminal Rule 4. Number 2, the defendant claims he has been neglected his rights to an arraignment hearing within 72 hours time per Idaho State Code. Idaho Code does not provide a time frame for an arraignment hearing. Procedural matters generally fall under the Idaho criminal rules. Defendant is entitled to an initial appearance without unreasonable delay when he is arrested, with or without a warrant. In the case, the defendant, or in this case, the defendant has not been arrested or served with a warrant, and the provisions have not been violated. Like, the prosecutor, the state here is just letting him know that everything you're saying is wrong. Number 3, defendant claims has violated his rights to due process by releasing a statement made to Payette County detectives to the public media, also violating his 8th Amendment, causing him to be in constant fear for his life and his life being in danger. Defendant is currently in secure custody in Phoenix, Arizona, far from the state of Idaho. The defendant has not shown any evidence that his life is in danger while confined. The state is aware that the Washington County Sheriff's Office released a video recording to a private citizen pursuant to the 2023 public records request. That video shows the defendant directing Fruitland police detectives and others to where he says he saw the victim's body being buried. Yeah, the victim's body being buried where Michael was being buried in defendant's backyard. The defendant has not shown any evidence that pretrial publicity had an actual effect or even a general effect on the hold on one second. Impartiality of any juror or potential juror that would substantially impact his due process rights. The court has a long list of potential remedies if any such bias can be proven, including potential change of venue, or voir dire questioning, potential change of venue, and the like. If anything, the motion to dismiss predictated on these grounds to premature and should be denied. This is completely laughable, you guys. Like, he had no idea what he was even talking about. And they come back, and therefore, based on the foregoing, the state respectfully requests that the defendant's motion to dismiss be denied. He just wants to dismiss everything and get up on YouTube and talk and talk and talk for hours and hours and hours. We've heard the relentless, just on and on and on talking because he loved the attention, right? And wow. Just wow, the audacity of him to even try to dismiss any of this is completely aggravating. I guess is the simplest way to put it, because yeah, what about Michael? Stacy, you are not the victim. Sarah's not a victim. Adrian, you are not a victim. You claim to be a victim. You claim you were set up and all these people are coming after you to kill you, blah, 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 blah. Brandon thinks he's a victim. All of these suspects think they're a victim. And Michael Vaughn, to put it bluntly, is dead. They all four have knowledge of, was there, did or saw something. Stop playing victim. For frig's sake, Jesus. It is psychotic. And they're just playing games. They know where Michael is currently buried. At least one or two of them that I know of know for a fact where Michael is. And nobody will even tell this family where he is. And I mean, I don't even know what piece could come out of it other than they could lay Michael to rest. They'll never have complete peace of any of it because they no longer have Michael. All they have is the memory of Michael. And, you know, thank God for all the pictures and videos and everything that the family has had, because he was so loved, is so loved, and will always be loved and never, ever, ever forgotten. Even long after all of the trials and everything, all of the charges on all the suspects and everything, Michael is never, ever going to be forgotten. It is so friggin' gross. They know and they play games. And it's so true. And then there's another thing filed here. I mean, look at that face, you guys. And Stacy's going to be in his orange jumpsuit, and court's going to come, and the family's going to have to sit in the courtroom with Stacy James Wandra, 18, 19-year-old Blue, going to be sitting in the courtroom with this monster. All of them having anxiety, all of them being stressed out in the Vaughn family. May or may not have to testify and give testimony. Can you even imagine having to get up there and testify and give testimony about things that you know that occurred that day that Michael was abducted, sitting in front of Stacy Wondra, and in one way you're thinking, hell yeah, put me up there. That's the guy that kidnapped and killed my son. Of course I want to be up there. I'm going to, you know what I mean? And you already know Brandy's fighting the fight. Tyler's right beside her fighting the fight. This family is so, so strong. And each minute that goes by, even though they're stressed, this is only making them stronger. Knowing they get to face Stacy, they get to confront him, they get to do something. Heaven forbid that charges were never ever brought. And then what? They just sit there and wallow around in whatever feelings that they're having about the whole thing? No. Brandy and Tyler have been ready to fight this fight for a long damn time, and I guarantee you she is going to keep fighting. So is Tyler. So is that Vaughn family. Nothing is going to stop them from getting justice for Michael, ever. And we're all here standing beside the Vaughn family because we all want the same thing. We want justice. We are going to continue chasing justice for Michael Vaughn. He deserves it. He was 5 years old. 5. Having to face 4 people. How horrifying. And how horrifying it is for the family to even imagine. And now they've got to go into a preliminary hearing and they've got to hear it all. They have to sit and listen to all the discovery, all of the evidence that the prosecuting attorney has. Maybe they don't know everything. And then they're going to hear new stuff. Sorry, you guys, I got onto my feelings here. Anyway, there's an objection to defendant's motion for writ of habeas or whatever corpus that I want to go over here too. You know, what do you got to say, Shannon? Stop me. I can tell you from my sister's perspective who had to do that, and it is something that is and will be the hardest thing ever because you have to revisit the nightmare of that day. Exactly. And you have to revisit that nightmare in front of a courtroom full of people. And then if it's televised, then you're doing it in front of them. You're doing it in front of the media. You got lights going, camera going. You got the judge sitting on, you know. It is a very stressful situation. So here is the objection to defendant's motion. So comes now Kimberly Payette County Deputy Prosecuting Attorney and hereby objects to the defendant's motion for writ of habeas corpus. It orders the custodian of an individual in custody to produce the individual before the court to make an inquiry concerning his or her detention, to appear for trial, or to appear to testify. State courts may issue such writs to prisoner custodians. to produce federal prisoners. What am I reading right now? Okay, you know when you get those aha moments? Like I've gone over this a few times, but dun da da da. The state courts may issue such writs to prisoner custodians. This was in September 2025. The subpoenas, I believe, are given in November. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm thinking out loud. State courts may issue such writs to prisoner custodians to produce federal prisoners. Gives an Idaho code, governs who may petition for a writ of habeas corpus. An out-of-state prisoner may file a petition for a writ of habeas corpus under certain circumstances. Relief is not available for an out-of-state prisoner to challenge any issue concerning the legality of his out-of-state conviction or sentence. B, an issue concerning the legality of the fact or duration of his confinement in his state. C, any issue. Let me get you guys up to date here. Hold on. Any issue concerning the legality of the contract or agreement or any terms thereof pursuant to which he is housed in the state. D, an issue concerning the grant, denial, or revocation of parole for his out-of-state conviction and sentence. E, miscalculation of his out-of-state sentence. F, loss of out-of-state good time credits or lack of good time credits under the laws of the state of Idaho. G, a detainer lodged against him. Gives an Idaho code. Here, defendant requests documentation and evidence to legally hold him. Request detainer be issued to hold him in federal custody and request for his arraignment hearing within 72 hours of being charged. None of these remedies are available under the writ of habeas corpus. Defendant is in federal custody after his probation was revoked on a federal sentence in case number, and then gives the number. He is currently in the custody of the Board of Prisons in Phoenix, Arizona, with a scheduled release date of October 30th, 2025. And we know the next day he was rearrested and from there was going to be extradited back to Idaho. Defendant is not in custody on any Payette County pending case. A warrant has not been served, and there is currently no detainer lodged against him. Therefore, the state respectfully requests that the defendant's motion for writ of habeas corpus be denied. The state further requests that the defendant be instructed, here it is again, to properly serve copies of all further proceeding or pleadings upon the Payette County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. And then the last page is just basically, you know, signing everything and checking the boxes that they have served properly and all that kind of stuff. But Stacy Wondra wants to play victim. Everything he said, the prosecuting attorney was able to, you know, basically say, like, first of all, you're in Arizona. You're not even in Idaho. So some of the stuff that he was saying didn't even pertain to them. Here's my little theory. Here's in my own opinion type scenario, okay? Stacy Wondra and with the help of a certain creator that has sent like a bunch of information to Stacy's attorney, for frig's sake. Like, let's just insert yourself and be friends and talk to somebody that is or that has been charged with Michael Vaughn's murder and kidnapping. Like, I'm going to help you all that I can. And I'm even going to show up for court because I can in March. And I'm going to keep supporting you. And then Stacy even said this person's going to write a damn book. For real. I cannot make this stuff up. But because of the things that Stacy is saying, it seems to me that he thinks he's going to get off, that there's no way he's going to even go on trial or be charged. There's not enough evidence, even though earlier I read that his attorney had to ask for a different hearing date at the beginning of March to give him time to go through all the evidence. He's trying to play victim and say that his rights have been violated. And I think that's why the state is making sure to dot their I's and cross their T's to make sure nothing, because I think they know too. They're going to try to make it look like Stacy rights has been violated because this video's been leaked and everything. It's just a bunch of bull. But Stacy really believes it. That's what's just crazy. Even though he's told his mom everything that he saw, witnessed, what he, saw Sarah, Brandon, and Adrian do, even though he called the police and wanted to make a deal and told them to come in and confessed everything because he damn sure wasn't sat there and like coerced into saying anything. He wasn't bullied into saying anything. They didn't pressure him. You can see the confession footage for yourself and see that he's freely giving up this information. I mean, the prosecuting attorney, by the way, all that stuff that I just read to you, yeah, that was all dropped. All of that stuff was dropped. Because, Stacy didn't even, when he filed it, but then he doesn't proceed to serve everybody properly, which means none of it can really stand anyway. And at one point, I did have that paperwork. I couldn't find it where everything had been dropped, and now it's gone and sealed. And I think, it's because they don't want everybody to find little Stacy's letter. Yeah, it's just disgusting. They're going to go in there and try to make it look like his rights were violated. Well, what about Michael? What about Michael? If there's enough evidence to prove that Stacy Wondra kidnapped him or murdered him or had some kind of involvement, which came out of his own mouth, I've been going over court documents for a couple of weeks now, and I'm just irritated. I can't even imagine how Brandy is dealing with this and Tyler. Like, I already know they're stressed out. I've talked to her, and we've talked about a lot of things, and it's just heart-wrenching, to have to deal with such an idiot like Stacy Wondra. It is frustrating to know that there's some YouTube creator, and then you've got Sarah's mom, just really hindering this investigation, and just like people know things and they're not giving it up. You don't insert yourself into an investigation. And Kay, she'll do anything to protect Sarah. Anything at all. Kay knows that Stacy Wondra has been charged or is going to be charged with, you know, first-degree murder and second-degree kidnapping, and she's still taking letters from Stacy. I mean, come on. How much more could you insert? And then because Stacy and Sarah aren't even supposed to be talking. So the fact that Kay's even reading letters from Stacy to Sarah, isn't that a violation of some sort? I mean, really, isn't it? Chuck Anderson's granddaughter is here. Thank you so much. And we got Slim Pickens in the house. So many people are showing up. Like I said, when I'm into my court docs and everything else, I just get so wrapped up. It's hard for me to come over to chat, but I really appreciate everybody for coming in. Kelly's saying yes. I mean, that's what I'm asking. Like, isn't that a violation if Stacy and Sarah aren't supposed to be talking? And then somebody's reading letters that Stacy's, you know, writing to her. It's aggravating. But look at who we're talking about, though. Exactly, Kelly. Look who we are talking about. I mean, Kay wants to act like this tricycle that she found, and she's like even changed her story multiple times about this tricycle that was found. Why would she do that? And even in the court documents, in the affidavit, the police don't believe her either. They pretty much come out and say it. And that's one of the reasons why we're going to go back over the probable cause affidavit, because those are pretty much like the charges and why they believe what they believe. And the state's got to prove that. And that's why we're going to talk about what is the preliminary hearing. What can the state's prosecutor bring to the table? What kind of evidence can they bring, and witnesses and whatnot? So we're going to be going over lots and lots and lots of stuff over the next couple of weeks. And if I can, I will finish up with the Pope twins information, or I can finish that up, you know, after the preliminary hearing. I want to see what chat has to say. Yeah, poor Michael. It's honestly just heartbreaking to even think what happened to him. I mean, oh, Brandy, if you're here, I'm sorry if this hurts you, but this is so true, because it's like Sarah is a big person. Stacy Wondra is a big person. And let's face it, Adrian Lucian kind of looks like a crazy ass, okay? With his hair always everywhere, tattoos covering him or whatever. And then you got goofy looking Brandon, you know, and Michael's kidnapped. And these are the people that he's facing. These are the people that he's looking at. These are the people in the room. Just terrifying. Terrifying to think about what Michael had to go through. I mean, Brandy says it herself during one of the interviews that she did with a news broadcaster. You know, what was Michael thinking? Did he want his mommy? Did he want his daddy? Was he screaming for anybody? Like, what was he going through? These are the things that this family has to think about because of these four monsters. And then others being out there that could possibly know things that don't want to come forward, leave this family with nothing but unanswered questions in their mind. Where is he? What did he go through? And there are four suspects, and one of them could actually just tell the truth. I pretty much feel like they're going to go to hell if they don't. And every second that goes by that they don't just proves even more what hideous people they are. You know, Brandon Shirtliff is running around delivering DoorDash. That's his job because he can't find a job anywhere else. And he's living with his mother. You know, him and Misty broke up. Misty was pregnant. She's lost the baby. I've still been talking to Misty. You know, there's just... there are people out there that know things and they just need to start talking. And, you know, Brandon Shirtliff working for DoorDash is just an example because he's never going to be able to work anywhere else as a suspect in a missing and abducted and murdered child's case, right? Due process is such a beautiful thing. Yes, it is. I believe everyone that loves Monkey will be standing in that courtroom with us. Maybe not physically, but definitely in hearts. Absolutely, Brandy. Absolutely. I'm just kind of going back here right now, looking through chat, trying to see what everybody has to say. Beverly says that Stacy Wondra, file his fingers to the bone, won't change. He abducted Michael Vaughn, 5 years old. Yeah, and he don't care. We all seen how Stacey Wondra treated Brandy up on stage. He's going to have a very different feeling, though, I think. I really believe that he will when he sees Brandy in the courtroom. I can almost half-ass imagine him trying to smile at her like they're friends because they once talked on a YouTube creators panel. For fuck's sake. Excuse my French. He's just ridiculous. Because he doesn't even conceive the fact that he really, really was a monster and we really got to see what kind of person he was when he treated Brandy that way on panel. Butterfly Kisses says that I so wished I could be in that courtroom standing with you. That's a long way from Florida. We are all going to be there with her. We are all going to be there. Chuck Anderson's granddaughter. Darn, didn't get a notification. Hi, Sammy, mods and chat. Unsubscribe and then subscribe again and unclick the notification and hit the notification again to get those notifications. Sometimes that just happens with YouTube. Sorry you didn't get one though. Yeah, he can file his heart out. Stacy can file whatever the hell he wants. He's talked too much. He has said too much. Even if Stacy wasn't charged with, say, the actual murder or kidnapping or whatever, Stacy Wandra has knowledge of it, and he's admitted that by talking about it. And that's another reason why we're going to go over the confession footage, too. So just lots of stuff coming forward. I'm still looking at more court documents. There's a place that I found that was actually handed over to me by Lana that, you know, has a list of stuff that's been filed. I've been kind of reading through everything. If I don't understand it, I send it to somebody else like, hey, you know, do you understand what this is saying? Just trying to figure out what's really important to talk about and what's not. And then Brandy is saying here, remember, I didn't release that video until after his YouTube tour. Very true. And Brandy wasn't even the one, like, that information, that footage was sent to Justin, first of all, during a request for some information from the court. And so he was the one who had that information. And he had that information for over a year before, you know, it ever came about. I don't know how long he had it before, you know, Brandy saw it, but I know that that information wasn't released for a very long time. And here Brandy is saying she didn't release that information until after his YouTube tour, which basically already put the nail in Stacy's coffin, if you ask me, because everything he said on YouTube to every single creator, all those hours of talking and talking, is public information, his own words, his own contradictions, his own lies, everything. Because, yeah, he went up on YouTube and then it became public information. They're going to be able to use it in court. What you say can and will be used against you in the court of law, like Josh says. And it will be, because those are his words. And let's not forget, like Hair Curlers and Crime points out here, he cried and threw up when he told the detectives what he and the others did. No rights were violated. And then let's not forget, he talks and tells his mom everything that happened, and then goes into his room where he's being held and tries to off himself. He tried to commit suicide, and, you know, they found him in there before that could actually happen. You know, that right there is a sign of guilt. You just don't go tell your mom a bunch of stuff. I mean, I think honestly, the only person that Stacy Wondra could ever really care about knowing what he did, what he said or done or whatever, would be his mom. And I think that's why he did try to do that. But yeah, throwing up. Yeah, his rights were not violated. Yes, he is, baby kisses, a complete idiot. I believe he implicated himself, and that's why he wants to backtrack. Exactly. That's what he did. He said it was a false confession. But guess what? He didn't say it was a false confession until he started talking to another creator that pretty much convinced him, you should just say this. Yeah. Why don't you just say it was a false confession? Is how I believe that happened. Or she just, you know, went at him in a way that was kind of like, well, when you were doing all of that, were they harassing you? Were they, you know, coming at you really hard? Were they doing that for days and days? Could it be that this was like a false confession because you were under pressure with all of your stuff? Like, I can so hear it now. And yes, I am. I'm being really friggin' petty. I'm just tired of the shit. Like I said earlier, I'm allergic to the bullshit. I'm tired of rumors being spread about the Vaughn family. I'm tired of rumors going around that Tyler had something to do with his son's abduction and murder. I'm tired of hearing it all. Yep, typical that he's playing the victim game, and it's lame. Yep, let him live in fear. Thank you, Chaos Mama, for coming in. I really appreciate you being here. Let me get to some new. What the heck? I didn't do that. Somebody's comment just got hid. It wasn't me doing it on purpose. It was an accident. I actually hit a button. Yeah, it is sickening. The letter to Michael's parents should be an admission of guilt in itself. Absolutely right, Kelly, because that's what he did. He goes in there to do, try to off himself or whatever, and at the same time writes a letter to the Vaughn family. That's got to be part of evidence, right? Like, run away from my confession even to the parents. I'm a victim. I didn't do anything. I love your channel, Sam. Well, I love having you here, and I love my channel too, but most importantly, like, I love my chat. I love the people that come. I am absolutely blessed to have so many good people come into chat. So many people that want to help, research, do document, like, you name it, like Monkey's Army's huge. And thank you for that, Chaos Mama, because I really appreciate it. Yeah, the nerve. The nerve of some people. I think a jury would see that as guilt, right? Because that's the way I kind of like look at it. Like, that's a pretty guilty statement, trying to do that to yourself after writing a letter to the family. But then he gets up on panel with Brandy and then acts like, such a monster and denies it all and everything else. I don't know. I actually don't even know whether or not they ever got that letter. Let me see what else we got here. My granddaughter, born a heroin addict, would not hurt anyone or any animal, even don't kill spiders and bugs. Yep, he's always playing victim. I guess I didn't know he wrote a letter to them. Yes, it's in the probable cause affidavit. This is the reason right here, you guys. Thank you so much for coming in. What is it? Starrick Knight. Thank you so much for coming in. This is why we're going back over the probable cause affidavit, because, like, I guess I don't know he wrote a letter to them. Some people are unaware. Some people are becoming new to this case. And plus, I just think it's important to revisit a few things, go over some stuff we've already talked about, and refresh our memory of everything before this preliminary hearing. I mean, I don't want to go way back. Like, I don't want to sit there and watch Stacy's face for, I think it's 14 or 15 hours of bullshit. But there are reasons to go back and revisit this. Yeah, that letter's going to help put them away. Just a question. Is it a coincidence that an individual would accuse the parents until a suspect was named, and the individual blaming the parents befriends the suspect? Right? And becomes part of the defense? ? Well, I love how you put that. Is it a coincidence that an individual will accuse the parents until a suspect was named, and then the individual blaming the parents defends the suspects and becomes part of the defense? And she has become part of the defense. She's sending them information. I have many sources. Many sources. I know things that Stacy Wondra talks about. I know things that Sarah Wondra talks about. And I am telling you right now, she has, this YouTube creator has inserted herself in the absolute worst ways. Yes, petty. Yes, talking about it, whatever. People don't like it. They ain't got to listen. But it's part of this case, because the information is out there. And once information is put out there, it can't be taken back. And rumors start to fly. And then when that happens, misinformation, people start talking about it, believing the information's true, while this creator is spreading the misinformation. Then it turns into even more misinformation and disinformation. And disinformation is where you are making up anything you possibly can. I mean, This creator's got their own agenda, right? We don't know what the hell it is, but she's damn sure coming up with their own narrative, and it's disgusting. Like, why? Why? Got her heart set on blaming the parents, got their heart set on, you know, that Fruitland police are corrupt. Whatever. Just whatever. It's a bunch of bull crap. You know, I dealt with a lot of rumor and misinformation and stuff in Kyron's case, and sometimes that can really cause a lot of problem when you're trying to bring awareness to a child and you've got so many people believing the agenda of somebody else doing nothing but spreading the misinformation. It goes on and on and on and on. And then as people hear those rumors and misinformation, they come up with their own opinions. And it's just a cycle. And it just keeps going and going and going. And to answer your question, Callie, is it a coincidence? Hell if I know. I think she's had it out for the Vaughn family for a really long time, and that's why she befriended Stacy, because she wanted to be in the in and outs of it all. She wanted to talk to Stacy to get all that information, to hear it all, so that he would send her court documents that weren't being publicly put out there or whatever, so she could, you know, continue to do her lives and continue to keep spreading misinformation. Yes, I would like to go to trial to support the Vaughn family. I live a few hours away. Still, there is documentation stating that the public was allowed at his last arraignment. It doesn't have a date, which lets me think, or leads me to believe, that this includes future court hearings. But I cannot get a straight answer from the courthouse, and it's driving me crazy. Matter of fact, Brandy, if you could just find out, that'd be great. I don't ask Brandy for nothing, though. I really don't. It's just definitely one of those things, because there are a lot of people that want to go, but it is a very small courtroom. So if you're going to try to go and it does become public, get there early. Get there early. Stacy Wondra, Brandon Sertliff, Sarah Wondra were on the scene of Michael's abduction. Mike Rams left a note saying the creator's answer of human decomposition in the yard was from a past serial killer. So smart, not right? Ego, attention, book, I don't know, right? Yeah, book. Stacy's talking about how he's going to get half of the money once she puts out the book. But she's already denied that that was even going to happen now. She's, well, I don't write books. I read them. Yeah. Ego, yes. Because she came up with all these theories and threw shit at the wall, and none of it panned out. But she's on a mission to prove that everything she thought in the very beginning of her spewing the BS, you know, she's just got to keep going with it all, because she cannot admit that she was wrong. Hell, I'm even hearing that she's sending messages between other suspects, not Stacy and Sarah. Like befriending Brandon Shirtliff. Why did she do that? It's a whole thing, you guys. Anyway, I don't want to talk about her anymore. I just want to thank everybody for being here. Small and no nonsense Idaho courtrooms are very strictly about respect and sitting up straight and behaving appropriately. Yes, they are. I read the documents that I did find. Yeah, it's her word against the world. I read the document that I did find that just, no cell phones. They're going to search your bags coming in, get there early, because once court starts, the doors are going to be closed. And if you get up, once you're in there and leave, they're not going to let you back in. So if you can go there to support Brandy, that's great. If it's not public, go and support Brandy from outside the courtroom. You can make signs. You can stand out there and let her know, hey, we were here. But you know what? Brandy knows we're here, whether we're standing outside the courtroom or not. She knows we are all here to show our support in any way, shape, or form that we can, How can she not be in trouble for interfering or possibly intimidating? I don't know. I do not know. But yeah, even going to the court, like she's going to go March 3rd through March 6th. I mean, and if it wasn't public, wouldn't she have to file something, like fill out something to become like a reporter, like have a reporter's ID of some sort or something? Because she's not one of Stacy Wandra's family members, or could Stacy fill out paperwork saying, hey, like, I want this person here because my family can't make it for like support or something? Yeah, it's very trashy. It's just really trashy. But again, you guys, thank you guys all for being here. I've been here for 3 hours. I'm not going live tomorrow. My granddaughter has a basketball game. And then, of course, Wednesdays, as you guys all know, are dinner nights with my grandbabies. So I'm doing that tomorrow. I am going to be putting up a thumbnail tomorrow or early Thursday. So look for a live coming either Thursday or Friday to start going over more information, revisiting things. I've got lots of stuff that I want to do. I just haven't decided in what order I'm going to do it. We've got 2 weeks tick-tock till Stacy Wandra's preliminary hearing. And yeah, this is huge. So keep praying for Michael Joseph Vaughn, who was abducted July 27th, 2021. And the 4 named suspects in Michael's abduction and murder are Stacy Wondra, Sarah Wondra, Adrian Lucian, and Brandon Shirtliff. Stacy Wondra has already been charged with first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction of evidence. There was a probable cause already written out on him. The same probable cause is also written for Sarah Wondra, and as everybody learned tonight, Sarah Wondra went to her parole hearing in October, and there is a hold on Sarah for when she is released from prison, which will be October 27th of 2026. She will not be released to the public or will not be free. They have a hold on her, which means she will be arrested. And then that probable cause affidavit will stand, and she will also be charged with first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction of evidence. Adrian Lucian is still claiming victim, still claiming that people were chasing him and people were doing this and that to me. Well, why, Adrian? What do you know? You're the one that Stacy says has set up all of this. Michael was supposed to be trafficked, and you were all supposed to get $10,000 apiece. You're the only one that people are coming after. Why is that? Because you tried to set everything up? Because you're the only one out of the 4 suspects that knows who was going to buy Michael, who was going to purchase him, spend money on him, however you want to put that, so that you guys could all make money? I mean, why would people want to hurt you? Why did you say that, one of the white guys or a white guy had me come live at the Wandra's house? So it was all a planned thing for you to go and stay at their house. You weren't behind a garbage can. Sarah didn't just find you. You took a plane to Idaho. And you planned on staying with the Wandra. And it was all so you could make a buck. And Brandon Shirtliff has his hands deep in all of it, as he is trying to help make plans as well. Going to Twin Falls, Idaho, just days prior to Michael's abduction, meeting up with some really bad dudes. Doing some very bad transactions. Like, these 4 suspects are suspects for a reason, you guys. It's not just because Fruitland didn't do their job. They were suspects right from the beginning. The probable cause affidavit says that they were all spoken to August 1st or August 2nd. I can't remember which now because the paperwork's not in front of me, of 2021. Just a week or so after Michael's abduction. Dogs hit on the Wandra's house. Out of over 300 houses, Michael Sent was there. And Michael Sent was also where the tricycle was when Dorothy Starkey saw Michael on the tricycle on the corner. The dogs hit on that corner. And now she's been subpoenaed to go to court. There is a reason why they're 4 suspects. Brandon is the person that walked around in that neighborhood. What was he doing in that neighborhood? Michael Vaughn wandered away from home in hopes he could find somebody to play with. An innocent act of a child, just to leave and go find someone to play with. Seen by several people on his streets as he knocked on the door looking for someone to play with. All of the adults, you got to go home, Michael. You can't be running around, or whatever is said. Michael doesn't go home. He just keeps wandering around trying to find somebody to play with. And during that time, one of these 4 suspects abducted Michael and took him back to Sarah and Stacy Wandra's house, where god-awful things happened, and Michael ended up dead. And those are the facts, because their phones prove they were in the neighborhood. Phones prove where they were and what they were doing, and even Adrian Lucian was taking selfies of himself shortly after the abduction, which proves that Adrian Lucian was there, and he was not staying with his ex-girlfriend and his son, like Stacey Wondra said long ago, which we all believed. Brandon Shirtliff leaves the night that Michael is abducted. He stays at his mom's house where Michael is. Dogs hit at his mom's house. These are cadaver dogs that are trained to hit on the scent of death. And there was a death scent at Brandon's mom's house. And multiple dogs hit. Cadaver dogs, multiple cadaver dogs hit in the backyard and in the area where Stacy Wandra told police where Michael was buried. Michael was buried in the Wandra's backyard. And then Michael was moved to an unknown location. And there are 1 or 2, and who knows, maybe 3 or 4, who knows, right? But we know at least 1 or 2 of these suspects knows where Michael is now, where that unknown location is. And when court starts and they do charge Stacy and trial dates start popping in, maybe that'll scare the shit enough to one of the others to start talking. I mean, I already know that Sarah is not liking the fact that Stacy's going through with this divorce. She is so distraught about it. So distraught about it. And she just wants to keep playing like, I did not do this. I did not do this. I'm being accused of stuff that I just did not do. And once Stacy goes to court and starts talking or spewing his lies or his whatever and starts blaming Sarah for everything so that he's not convicted of Michael's kidnapping and murder, and since she's not going to be charged till after she's released in October of 2026, maybe Sarah will start talking and telling the truth about what really happened. Michael Vaughn deserves justice, and so does his family, and we're all going to make sure that that happens. I do not believe that Stacy's just going to get a slap on the hand and that nothing's going to happen to him. I really don't. I think there's too much out there of his own admission, if anything else, his own admission. Please keep praying for the Vaughn family and Michael Vaughn. Thank you guys for being here. If you guys have if anybody has any information about Michael Vaughn, just because someone's been charged, just because there's a preliminary hearing and court proceedings going on, doesn't mean you still can't call in a tip. Any tip at all, please call it in to Fruitland Police 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. Again, the Fruitland Police tip line is 208-642-6006, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. Please help bring justice to Michael Joseph Vaughn, our sweet little monkey. Even though I never met him, he means the world to me. The Vaughn family knows that. We just got to keep pushing forward, you guys. Monkey's army is strong, and we're never going to quit. And we're praying for the Vaughn family every day. And we believe that justice is going to happen. And it has been 4.5 years, so it's about damn time. It's about damn time. In a minute, I'm Anita. Sorry. Let's just do this, right? Let's just continue to do everything we can possibly do. Share Michael's beautiful face. Share. Justice for Michael is coming. Thank you guys all so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Hit the notification bell. I am very popular for those spur of the moment lives. Thank you guys so much for coming. Have a good night, everybody.